All right, so I don't know about you guys, but things are getting very suspicious. And by that, I mean that there's a lot of things that are happening in the United States and even across the world, but a lot of people are trying to make sense of it. But there is something else definitely going on behind the scenes. And whether that is this whole roundup of the criminals and just this Red October and the dark 10 days and all that stuff, who knows? But I just want to share with you a couple of things and how it may be significant, and would love to know just your thoughts, your comments, because as much as the media and everybody is claiming to know certain things, anecdotally, something is happening and people are giving testimony to that, boots on the ground as well as video. But also there is this whole show, as we've said before, as I've said before, many of us believe that there is some theatrical acting going on. And I mean at a heavy, high level scale. Now, people are even talking about conspiracy and a lot of things. And there's a lot of talk with especially Charlie Kirk and just some of that stuff. And we know that there's a lot of cover-ups. What comes to mind is the shooting at Vegas. And then even recently, people bringing up like Tucker Carlson, the 9/11 stuff, and just so many things. Now, I'm not going to get into that. That's a heavy topic, but I do just want to show you a couple of things that I just find very interesting. Now, the National Guard and ICE are getting a lot more attention. A lot more people are talking about it. And if you know Portland, there's just so much coming out of that city. And what's interesting is that apparently a lot of people aren't able to geotag the location, and they can't do certain things on social media, especially on TikTok. And there's so much footage coming out where people are getting stabbed, flags are being burnt, and a lot of chaos is happening. And that's very sad because Portland is actually near and dear to my heart because I traveled there for over a year on a weekly basis when I was in consulting. And so I know the city very well in the sense of not only the city center, but I was mainly in the suburbs like Beaverton and Hillsborough. But it is very troubling to me and sad to see this state. And what's also interesting is that the talk of invoking the Insurrection Act is becoming more and more of a top of mind thing. And people are asking these questions. And there's a lot of posts about that. The word insurrection is coming up at a higher degree than it was previously, especially during 2020 and onward, but it's very, very top of mind, and it just allows you to ask certain questions. And so listen to this clip because he was asked about this during a news briefing.
What?
The Insurrection Act, under what conditions or terms would you?
Well, I'd do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are safe.
And remember, with the Insurrection Act, there's a disclosure you must give to say you must peacefully go home. And if they go against that, then the National Guard and the federal troops and these guys can come in and do whatever it is that they have to do. All of this is illegal if you understand the Constitution, if you understand law and order. And there's a lot of news coming out of Illinois, especially with the governor, Pritzker, as well as Chicago. And this comes at a time when Pritzker and the mayor is saying that there's going to be safe zones for ICE to not interfere. And Trump says that he'd use the Insurrection Act in Chicago if the governor continues to interfere. And watch what Trump says. He was asked about this, and especially his comments to Governor Pritzker were very telling.
We're mugged, reporters. And you know what? You're safe now. Nothing. We've had no crime. It took 12 days to solve the problem. 12 days. And we're going to do that in Chicago. We're going to do that in Portland. Now, Portland's different. That's a bunch of paid insurrectionists. But you have a lot of paid people in Chicago, too. I believe the politicians are under threat because there's no way somebody can say that things are wonderful in Chicago. Almost 55, I think it was 55 people over a short period of time have been murdered in Chicago, have been shot. 222 people over a short period of time have been hit, have been wounded, not died. But 55 people died over a short period of time. You're telling me there's no city in the world like that. We're going to straighten it out. And I think that Pritzker, he's not a stupid person. I think that Pritzker's afraid for his life.
What he said was absolutely crazy. And it's telling with regards to what may be going on behind the scenes in terms of blackmail and other stuff. And when Trump says certain things, it's not like, oh, he's taking a guess at things. He knows certain things with the military, the intelligence, all of that, the three-letter agencies Everything is being shown and told with a purpose. And so this is why you have to cue in on some of these things as he, talks to the press, and then as he goes kind of back and forth during these Q&A discussions. And what's interesting is, again, I don't know the credibility of this person as well as just other people that claim to know what's going on, but they have a lot of momentum and followers. But the point is that they're getting certain details, certain tips. And this person says they received a phone call, and if there's any truth to what was told, the hammer went down, and it went down hard. And this person says as soon as it becomes public, they're going to share it. But it's like this type of rhetoric and talk that's kind of taking over Twitter and many places, especially in independent media. And so it begs the question, what's going on? Remember, Trump sent 600 military lawyers and just recently fired immigration judges so that they can speed up basically from the public's perspective, the illegal immigrant crisis. But what are they doing? Are they bench judges? Are they JAG? Are they military lawyers being set up for treason and doing all this stuff? But they're apparently given 6-month assignments to do certain things and working with literally the military. And this news broke in September, but right now they're over there as we speak. So who knows what these 600 military lawyers and judges, or lawyers that became judges, are going to do with all of this stuff going on. And a lot of other people talking about hearing certain code words. Trump, in his speech at the Navy, talking about the go word, where he said in a post, which I shared earlier, where he's waiting to give the word go. And this was during that Hamas and Israel negotiation thing and the 6 p.m. deadline. And as we know from Q, that on the ready, the military being the only way, and that they're going to do something. And more of the Dan Scavino and even Elon Musk and anybody that's in on this whole thing are giving Q drops and references, and it's not coincidental. So this person, Tyler, pointing out the fact that Elon Musk said 0, Dan Scavino said 0, and that the 12 hours, 3 minutes, 0 seconds shows post 123. Nothing is random. Everything has meaning, and it goes back to 0 day, 0. So is that the first marker? Is that the beginning of something, especially with the military actually taking action and enacting certain things? People even waiting on the emergency alert system, which is talked about here in post 2793. Who knows? And as I look at all of this, I just find it very strange. Like, what's happening? What's going on? And I don't think we're going to be given all the details. I don't think we'll be privy to all of like what's going on live, because if you think about war, you're not going to just project and say certain things. You have to be cryptic in some sense. You have to let it go successfully. And then for the public to properly digest certain things, again, Q says that what's being exposed, if it is exposed and brought to light, it's going to literally like cause chaos for the average person, because they haven't been slowly red pilled. They haven't been brought into the fold with regards to all of the evil or whatever it is that's going on that sounds conspiracy-esque, but it is reality. It's the truth. And that's what Q and many others and a lot of the Anons and those that are researching have talked about over the years. And it sounds absolutely crazy. But we know, if you're a Christian, that it's possible from a demonic perspective, from a Satan versus a God perspective. Obviously, God has already had the victory, but all of this, whatever it is that's sin running rampant in the world, happens and can be possible in the sense of it being that bad if it is true. And so I just want to give you guys this, 2 cents and just say that whatever's happening, God is in control. But I believe something is happening, because all of this rhetoric and this talk and these Q drops and deltas and all these code words, cryptic messages, it's not coincidence in some sense. So again, more to come, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Would love to hear your perspective. Also, you guys know I'm doing a fundraiser. We're almost there. GiveSendAndGo.com/chrisyoonyt. Link is in the description below. Thank you, guys. Talk to you guys very soon.